is one of the biggest and most anointing things in Ugandan sport, considering that how sport has been hit by the pandemic.
It's been a long time coming. I remember the first goal we won back in the day. 1972, yeah. So we can say it has been a long time coming, but I'm really glad that it came at the right time. You know, these are times when we need to take our minds off, you know, situations that are happening in the country with the pandemic, with lockdown. So it was like, you know, a breather, you know, a sigh of relief, just getting your mind off. I think for a moment there, people forgot that there is lockdown and there is a whole pandemic situation.
And the happiness, the hope.
Yeah, people's statuses were filled with, you know, gold, and it's a good feeling, really.
It's definitely a very brilliant feeling, because the Olympics are the biggest and epitome of sport tournaments all over the world.
So if you can win at that stage,
nothing comes bigger than the Olympics.
So if you can win at that stage, it will be really a beautiful thing. I wait for the day that we can, you know, see our basketball team on the same stage, you know, winning something.
Just this morning, the US were able to walk the talk.
Everyone thought, you remember, I think last week when we talked about the USA basketball team and saying that, you know, they're going through hard times because now the world has caught up. And they had a very slow start to the Olympics, and people thought that they actually wouldn't win, but they got the gold.
Okay, we'll be back after this short break.
Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials. And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Welcome back from that short break. It is Slam Dunk Basketball. Felix Opal is my name, and as usual with my partner in crime, Emmanuel Ateng, we were just discussing America finally walking the talk and winning that gold medal after lots of critiques, including us, the players, like we were discussing previously.
Well, our job is really to analyze what's happening, you know, and at that time, America just lost a game, and we thought maybe they wouldn't make it all the way to the finals, because there's always this comparison. We're comparing them to the dream team of '92, and
there was also the argument of them not having fortified leader on the floor.
Yes, exactly. But the thing about the fortified leader, at the end of the day, Kevin Durant, came up big and took leadership.
He stepped up big, and then actually him coming out, damaging them behind the arc, then creating options down for the other players in the paint. That was really a very smart move.
Yeah, it was a smart move, and someone had to take control at a point, and Kevin Durant took it. And at the end of the day, they took gold. But on the other side, it has given America a lesson. They have learned that the world has actually caught up with what they are doing. So they're going to have to style up their game going into other tournaments that will be coming up. Yeah.
What intrigued me most about the finals is the tactical approach.
Yeah.
Because they were pounding on them. France was pounding on them. Now the strategy to come up and actually share the fouls, because we realized that none of the players were in foul trouble, but at least each one had a bit 2-1, because they kept on ensuring that they don't let the big man get onto KD, because that was the plan. Get onto KD, get the size onto him, get him into foul trouble. When you eliminate him, then it's going to be an easier way. So that plan of splitting the fouls so that each one shares the same amount when you're playing defense. That was one hell of a move.
It's always a good strategy. Us as coaches use it because you don't want certain key players to get into foul trouble. So sometimes even when the NBL and there's a situation whereby two people foul and you really don't know who fouled, we'll tell another player to put up their hand so that we balance the foul. So it's a very good strategy in that you can really protect the team itself. Then you can protect your important players. Because imagine a situation, let's say Kevin Durant had gotten, let's say, 5 fouls and he was out. That was going to put them into a deeper hole. So very good thinking from the coach there, basically to spread it out and allow his team basically to play with a lot of freedom when it comes to such situations.
Gives them a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
And the other news, which actually has the basketball fraternity, me myself inclusive, for the first time in Ugandan history, like I said, this is a month which is actually for breaking records. For the first time in Ugandan history, for the first time in Ugandan basketball, we have a player in the NBA, Ishmael Wainwright, being signed on a 2-year deal with the Toronto Raptors.
I woke up that morning to that news. When something happens in Uganda, you don't really need to go to a news channel. It's there on your status.
The moment you scroll,
switch on your phone, the Twitter is going off, WhatsApp statuses are going off. And although he's not a player that was really born in the country, he plays for the national team. But we know that at least he's carrying the Ugandan flag and part of the Ugandan DNA going into the NBA.
Yes. Coming on to that, remember we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and also on our website, houseoftalentug.com. Feel free to put there your comments, your remarks, your questions, your cases, your opinions, and we will share them, we will dissect them, and we will actually get to also know what it is that you're thinking. Coming on to that, just what you're saying, Ishmael Wainwright was born in Missouri. However, he was naturalized. Now, so many people, friends, acquaintances, have been asking me, what is this naturalization process? What does it entail? This person is not Ugandan, but he's playing for Uganda. How does that come about? Please, to our viewers, help and break it down.
I'll try to put it in the simplest form. Okay. Naturalization is a process whereby you meet certain requirements that a country sets for you to become a citizen of that country. Okay. So for this case, let's just say that Uganda adopted Ishmael Wainwright.
I like that one. Adopted.
So let's say Uganda adopted Ishmael Wainwright, okay, to do for us a particular something. And this particular something is the game of basketball, okay? As much as he was born in the States, he's now considered a Ugandan. So he owns a dual citizenship because America and Uganda have a dual citizenship deal, okay? So
American Uganda accepts dual citizenship.
So as much as he's American, but he's also Ugandan, okay? So naturalized in that way. Easiest form, adopted to Uganda.
Easiest form. So to our viewers out there, Ishmael Wainwright has dual citizenship. He's part Ugandan and he's also
part American.
Yeah. But at the moment, he's Ugandan, he's wearing the national jersey, and he's playing for the Silverbacks.
Yeah.
Come next season, he will be donning the Toronto Raptors jersey on a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
Coming to that, Afrobasket was just around the corner. Kicks off on the 24th of August.
Yeah.
So, there's this flip side. With him having signed such a contract, 2-year contract, the NBA, the biggest stage in basketball, coming down here to play for Uganda in Kigali, don't you think it's going to be quite hard for his sporting agent to actually grant him that, or even the Raptors themselves? You just signed someone who you know that is going to be helping you on your front court. You need him there, you need his size, you need him to be throwing his body there. Definitely he's not going to be the star man on the team, but he's going to be doing the anchor role. So the issue of the threat of him getting an injury and not being allowed to come down here. What's your take on it?
Well, it's more two-sided, but God forbid that he gets an injury. No one would, actually, no sports person would wish to get an injury. First of all, congratulations to Ishmael Wainwright for being, signed to the Toronto Raptors, representing us there. And I understand the whole idea that, you've signed with one of the biggest teams in the world on the biggest stage of basketball, and coming down to play for the national team in Afrobasket, comparing the two, really, Afrobasket would be on the lower side, and there's always a fear that what if he gets injured, how will that affect his situation in Toronto, and like I said, God forbid that he gets injured, but on the other side, he's also carrying a whole nation on his back, and it is something that he had committed to do from the time we started qualifying, so he has to follow through with what he started, so it would be actually a very good thing for him to follow through and come and play for Uganda in the Afrobasket, which will also give him more market in a way. So we're looking at it now. He's signed in Toronto, but he's also playing for Uganda. In Toronto Raptors, he might not be the star man, but when it comes to the Uganda national team, he is actually the star man.
He is the man.
Yes, he is the man. So that kind of, in a way, puts up it puts him higher up in the market than if he was only playing on one side for Toronto. So his involvement in Afrobasket, I believe, for him as a player, will actually, boost him up in the player market.
Definitely it would. And speaking to Coach Monday Ijuruni, and he was telling me that they were having a conversation after the news was broken, that the contract and everything, and pen had been put on the dotted line. And he was telling him that he was telling me that actually Ishmael is very happy and anticipating to actually feature in Afro basketball, and he says that it will be a bigger stage for actually him to express and show what he can do and what they should expect. But also, one other thing which I found out is that when you look at the tax structure back there, it is actually very high, the way they tax sports athletes. Now, the difference is when you get an African passport, that tax is waived off. So with him having an African passport, a Ugandan passport, he has a tax waiver as a sportsman. So that is also
it's a good business decision.
Definitely.
So if coming from that perspective, actually, so for a player like him, obviously you're not going to be paid as much as other people on the team or in the league. So for you to get that waiver on tax is actually good for you, because you get to keep most of the money that you're making in the NBA. So coming from that business perspective, it's actually a very good thing. Starting to give me some ideas also.
This is actually a very smart move.
It's a very smart move.
It's a win-win on both ends.
So he's winning in that regard. He gets to keep all his earnings. And then also on this side, he gets to get more earnings. So for him as a player, it puts him it's in a sweet spot, like we like to say.
Definitely, it's in a sweet spot. But talking about sweet spots, the Silverbacks are not in a sweet spot. The Silverbacks are in a sour spot. 24th August, Afro basketball kicks off in Kigali. The Silverbacks were meant to go in camp. That has not yet happened. Other teams are already in camp. At the moment, there is friction in the camp. players are actually having individual practice.
Yeah.
And they have not even gathered as a whole, not even the local-based players.
Yeah. That, when we won the game against Morocco, all of us were so excited, because now it had put us in coming from, financial situations and, climbing all those hurdles, then getting to Morocco, winning Moneylanders, climbing that mountain, and, coming down and them telling us that by a certain date would actually be in Morocco for camp, playing games here and there. Then, everything just, starts. Alexandria. We're going to play a couple of friendlies over there. Then coming now to the situation of there is friction in the camp, there is fire in the camp. You know what's happening, the players haven't gone for camp, and AfroBasket is just around the corner, okay? And the people who are going to play against are not sleeping. They are not sleeping.
Teams have been in camp for every month in different countries, they're having different friendlies. Definitely they have fitness, the things that you can't buy. You can't buy match fitness, you can't buy buy conditioning, body conditioning. Yeah.
So it puts us in a very tight spot. By now people should have been in Alexandria practicing, okay? But even now in Uganda, the local based players, some I believe are putting in their time to practice, okay? But they haven't yet had a practice as a group, okay? So it begs the question, what's going to happen on 24th? Because we're not just going there to show ourselves as Uganda and say we have come to what?
And we're not just participate. Going to go there as participants.
Yes, we actually need to compete.
We have to go there as competitors.
Yes,
we're not just going to be there as bridesmaids.
Yeah.
We're the team that came to
be
walking behind the groom.
And the thing is, we're just nearby. We can always just get a bus and come back when we're whooped.
Yeah.
So it then put us in a good situation. About the friction that is going on in the camp, I believe that one is stemming from, like we always say, there is different factions in FUBA. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have one side where Mr. Nasser is the FUBA president.
Yeah.
Then you have the other side of Haji.
Yes. Santur is the chairman, National Team Steering Committee.
Exactly. So when we get to a bigger stage like of AfroBasket, you're always going to have these, figureheads coming in and saying, okay, this is a big stage. I need to be seen.
Clash of egos.
Clash of egos.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just so unfortunate that this clash of egos, there's a saying that when elephants fight, the grass suffers. So now these elephants are fighting, and who's suffering? National team.
National team
okay.
is suffering.
They're the ones suffering down there. So these are things that we can put on hold. These ego clashes we can put on hold for some time and say, okay, after AfroBasket, fight all you want. Okay.
Let's look at the greater good.
The greater good for now. Fight all you want. So it's a very unnecessary situation that the Silverbacks find themselves in.
Yeah. According to my sources, the budget for the Silverbacks for AfroBasketball was submitted way earlier to the Minister of Sports. However, according to Mandi Jiruni, one of the coaches of the Silverbacks, they have communication which they have is that they have to wait for the minister to return from the Olympic Games for him to actually give them a way forward to getting that budget. Because one of the biggest hiccups, which has always been the biggest hiccup, are the finances. Team hasn't trained because of finances. Team is not in camp because of finances. Team does not have the final roster of which player is going to be added or excluded because of finances. Basically, everything is rotating around liquidity. So what happens if that delays? 24th is not anywhere further. It's just
around the corner.
Just around the corner. And then we will get there. We're up against Cameroon. We're up against South Sudan. We're up against Senegal. These are teams which are preparing and are ready in camp and everything. And then we'll come back here and we'll be licking our wounds and saying preparation.
It's always something that we are always crying about, preparation here and there. But the NCS man is really enjoying his time. We have just won gold, we have just won, silver. He's enjoying his time, and I don't think he's in any hurry to come back.
We have 4 medals so far. Best performance.
We have 4 medals, and when the man comes back, he's going to be jet lagged. He needs to rest.
There will be quite a number of state medals.
So where does that put the national team? Will he pass the budget and give us a go ahead. I don't know where that puts us as a team, but hopefully he comes back and gives us a go ahead at the right time.
Hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
We'll return after this short break and we'll give you much more updates on the Silverbacks, and also we will be discussing the junior Silverbacks and the junior Gazelles who are in Cairo for the Africa Under-16 Championship.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Welcome back from that short break. It is Slam Dunk Basketball. I'm with Emmanuel Ateng and we were discussing the Silverbacks. And so far, Emma, we are at a hiccup position.
Yeah.
Days are running down. We are not yet there.
Yeah.
Team is not in camp. Finances depleted. So I don't know. The previous campaign when we went to Morocco, President Nasser Serunjoji said they had to go to actually money lenders. And I don't know if that procedure is still the same thing that is going to happen. Otherwise, I don't know how football even will actually pay those debts.
Yeah. Hopefully the debts have been paid, you know. And
keyword yes, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, with football we always have to put hopefully, you know, before you get to other things. Yeah, so hopefully the debts are paid, and hopefully, like we're saying, the NCS actually passes the budget for us so that we can get the necessary finances that we need. Okay, but then again, I think we have very many organizations out there that can actually come in to support the national team. I don't know what kind of plan that FUBA needs to put out to these different organizations that so that they can actually support the national team, you know, because we don't want to put ourselves in a situation with what happened with the Gazelles, you know, reaching almost time for the tournament, then cancelling everything. So we don't want to put ourselves in that situation. So my cry out is to FUBA and to anyone who's out there. I don't know how the GoFundMe page is going. I don't know how much money we have there now.
Nothing has yet been said of how much has been collected or what enthusiasm is being put in ensuring that it's being pushed much more to get people to actually contribute however little they can.
So hopefully we have some, you know, kamane, like they say it, in our GoFundMe page. And I know that between NASA and Haji, there's actually some good finances that can actually push us, you know.
Very good social capital.
Yes, social capital connections here and there. Yes, so I think they should put their differences aside basically and look at the greater good for now, because you find that as a player, okay, I don't really want to be concerned about things that don't pertain to my basketball on the court. I don't want to be concerned about the finances. Am I going to get paid? Am I going to have sneakers? Are we going for camp? I don't really need to be thinking about these things. What needs to be going through my mind as a player is, how do I stop, let's say, you know, the best player on the other team?
How do I play better defense? How do I work on my shot? How do I improve individually? How do I, let's say, watch more video and say this is how this team is playing? How do I prepare my mind mentally? And how do I also prepare my body physically for that particular stage?
Exactly. So our players need to be in that mind state, you know. But now the players are also thinking, man, they told us we are going to Alexandria on such and such a date. We are still here. That did happen.
Waiting for the phone to ring for at least non-residential training.
That's not happening.
When you look at the calendar, the days are winding down.
Also, you know, you might be thinking, because I remember last time we said that they might be getting some new players on the team. So you're also sitting and thinking, should I go and work out? But even if I'm working out, am I still on the team? So am I still on the team? So they actually have all these worries, you know, going into the AfroBasket that is coming, which is a thing that they need not to be worried about. So my cry out is to, you know, to the FUBA president and to any stakeholders that are basically involved to just put some rest on our players so that they can be focused on the game of basketball, you know, ahead of the AfroBasket that is coming at the end of this month.
Yeah, it is Slam Dunk Basketball. We are live on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube, and also on our website, houseoftalentug.com. Feel free to put there your comments, your remarks, your views, your questions, and any other opinion that you might have concerning the game of basketball, both locally and internationally. We just mentioned new players or the roster changing and players actually wondering if they're going to be on or not on the final 12 that make the cut. Speaking to Mandi Jurudi, we will have a new point guard on the team, Adam Seiko. Plays college for help me pronounce that. I think my tongue is getting
I think he plays in Kansas for the Aztecs. He's 6'3", he's a guard. But I haven't watched him play.
But I also haven't watched him. I haven't watched any of his.
But you remember what we said, as soon as we hear a name, the next thing we do is jump on YouTube. So I think that's what we'll be getting into. But he's a point guard. He's Ugandan. So we don't have to keep thinking about dual citizenship, you know, adopting people here and there. And us getting another guard, actually a big guard, you know, we actually need some big guards on the team. So I don't know how he's going to fit into the team. I don't know what he brings to the table. We haven't gotten that information yet. But I think from the scouting report that has been going on, we have actually gotten very good players. Okay, and I think that moving forward, I think he's a player that is really going to fit into the team. We just wait to see what kind of impact he will have on the Silverbacks.
Coach Mandi Juruni describes the move of getting Adam Seiko on the team as the Silverbacks needing all the best players they can on the floor. Because when you look at it, we'll have the biggest number will be the players playing the backcourt. So in his defense, it's like it's not about having more guards onto the team, but it's having more experienced and more better players on the floor at that particular time.
So you always need the cream of the crop, actually. So if those are the players that we're getting to play for us, then it's a good thing. But from a size point of view, so to speak, okay, I thought we would get more big men. Okay, I thought we would get, some taller people. Some people would actually compete in the paint with, the likes of the South Sudan, the Cameroon, the Senegal, because we can only play small ball, to a certain limit.
And we can also just run to a certain limit. At a certain point, we need size. Okay, so we welcome Seiko on the team, but I think we are still waiting on which other players are going to be unveiled on the team. But I think we need big men to help us match up with the kind of competition that we're going to face in the Afrobasket. When we return, we'll be discussing the Junior Silverbacks and the Junior Gazelles, who are down in Cairo for the FIBA Africa Under-16 Championship.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They have moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying I have a foot amongst the millennials. And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand. Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake. So let's be very honest about this thing and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. When a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tony Trump, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address? Now, as you look into the camera and close the show.
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
Welcome back from that short break. It is Slam Dunk Basketball, and just before we went for the break, we're discussing the Silverbacks and Emma. Hopefully, come 24th, when we have our opening game against Senegal, we'll actually be able to produce what I would call a miracle. Because at this moment, we actually need divine intervention.
I think by all means, if it means us borrowing cars to get our boys down there, we shall get them there. And because we struggled so hard to get to this point, so it doesn't really make any sense for us to stop here. You know, we need to go forward because we are representing Uganda on a very big stage. And you know, the deeper we get into Afrobasket, you know, you imagine we get all the way to the quarters, to the semi-finals. That not only opens up the eyes for the national team as itself, but it also opens up visibility for the whole country when it comes to basketball. So we really need this. We're at a point whereby there is no, you know, this side or that side. It's one way. We need to go to Afrobasket. We all need to find a way to get down there to Kigali.
Definitely, we need to. Going and flipping the page, Emma, right now to the under 16. We have been having so many discussions about youth basketball, bringing it up, and the things that need to be done. And finally, some of those players who were hard, the under 16 Gazelles, the junior Gazelles, and the junior Silverbacks, finally are in Egypt, Cairo, for the Africa FIBA Under 16 championship. And before they set off, there was amazing news. Stanbic Bank coming up to actually offer both teams a check of 15 million Uganda shillings, and other sponsors also who came in to chip in various ways, logistics here and there, to ensure that our boys and girls are down there in Cairo.
It was a good feeling because the shows before this, we always talked about basketball, the grassroots, basically supporting these kids because they're the future of Ugandan basketball that we have to allow. And it would have been a very big blow for them not to go to this tournament, you know, after preparing,
putting in that effort.
And you know how the kids are. They might, you know, lose the enthusiasm to play, and at a certain point, you know, get into other things. But thank you to Stanbic Bank. Thank you to anyone else who jumped onto that bandwagon, basically to sponsor the junior Gazelles and the junior Silverbacks. We're seeing some pictures of them, you know, very happy kids out there
during the unveiling of the sponsors at Lugogo.
And some of them, you know, it's their first time to travel. So you know,
first time on a plane.
You know, first time out of the country. So it really puts them in a good situation. And these are the things that we need to do for our kids, you know, to grow up the game of basketball at the grassroots.
Quite a contingent right there down with them. When I look here, Hudson Segamo, FIBA General Secretary, is the head of delegation. Ambrose Tashovia flew down there as an official. Joy Oringa is the FIBA commissioner. Nasuna Monica, FIBA referee. Sebalamo Brian also as a referee. Mavita Ali is the head coach. That is for the junior Gazelles. And then Otuk Isaac is the team doctor. And when you look at the team that we have down there in Cairo, remember, to our viewers, we'll be playing our first game today against Mali. It will be at 4:30 East African time. So feel free to actually tune in. It will be streaming on the FIBA YouTube channel and as well as on the FUBA page. For when you look at the junior Gazelles, we have Nambogo Mary Priscilla, the point guard from Nabisusa. Very enterprising young lady. Namale Sarah, Nareiso Babidie, Atek Zoe, Namukwaya Mariam, Namialo Christine, Salma Christine, Tashobia Darlene Elisa, Nyamutoro Gertrude, Liamaka Sharon, and Adolphine Immaculate. That is our team for the junior Silverbacks. And as you can see on the screen, that is the schedule that we'll be actually using, and that is how we are pooled. Remember, the junior Gazelles and the junior Silverbacks are both in Group A in the particular categories that they have.
Yeah, just listening to some of those names, some of them actually play in the NBL because you have the Navisunsa team that plays in the NBL. So going into that tournament, I think they bring a bit of experience, having played against, older players and all this. And it will be really exciting to see them playing. But then we also have the junior Silverbacks, the boys, Birungi Shane, Favour Sima. I've actually worked with him. Very good point guard. Yeah, we work with him at the academy. Very good point guard. He's a very dedicated guy, and it's going to be exciting to really watch him, playing that under 16. Then we have Kisache Matthew, Muonge Joel, Omar Emmanuel, Galuango Brighton, Sempegwa Fahad, Rukaire Yuhi, Dada Benedict, Bulenzi Ethan, and Sekawu Clarence. And just I've watched some of these guys play, and I've also worked with some of them, and they're very enthusiastic about the game of basketball, and just going out there, I believe that they're going to do something special.
They're going to do something special, and also irrespective of whatever result might come there, they would have garnered this experience. They would have garnered lots of skills. They would have seen what the other teams are doing different. They would actually have more drive, more hunger to ensure that actually when it comes to the under 18 selection, we're actually still the people that are onto this team. And to the technical staff and the coaching staff, this is an opportunity for them to follow up on this program. We have quite a number of players on our senior Silverback team and also on the senior Gazelles team who are at the tail end of their career. If you can see just there on the screen, you can see the pool, the countries that will be up against: Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Chad. Those are the countries that will be up against in Group A for the junior Silverbacks. And for the junior Gazelles, it will be Mali, Gabon, Algeria, Egypt, Chad. Quite a very tight group. I've watched the Algerian team play quite a number of clips online, and the Egyptian girls. Well, in quotes, bad news. Bad news.
I mean, I was seeing on some of these some people's statuses, also on some Facebook comments. They're like, our team is good now.
Yeah, of course, the comments have not been that enthusiastic and everything. However, we need to keep our hopes high.
Yeah, we need to keep our hopes high.
Our girls and boys, I believe, have what it takes to get there. Of course, the usual downfall is that when it comes to size, we are really at a disadvantage. Mostly when it comes to our boys.
But there's always that underdog story kind of thing, and we might pull off a lot of surprises. Actually, people will be surprised at what this team can actually do. And I'm just waiting to to talk back to some people who are saying, man, they're going to whoop us.
It's not going to happen.
But for me, the biggest step was actually them just getting to that place.
Them getting to Cairo and actually participating, competing down there. That's very, very important.
At this level, we are not really looking at you, bringing home the trophy and all that. We're just looking at basketball development, because that is what we focus on at the grassroots. Okay, so if, like you said earlier, if we can get these under 16s, into the under 18 team, then into the U20 and into the national team, you see how it creates a very good
continuity program.
Yes, and I think we also need the under 12s now coming in, so it creates a very good program for us that will help us basically get players into the national team, and it will end this whole thing of why do we need to get players from out and all this. Our players are not that good. So if we follow that system, I believe that
I'm actually very eager to tune in and watch at 4:30, because there are two players that I'm very excited to see how they will feature when it comes to that stage, when it comes to the junior Gazelles. Nambogo Priscilla, I like the attitude of that young lady. She has this attitude of David versus Goliath. She believes it doesn't matter if you're the Goliath, I'm the David, I'm going to bring you down. And then when it comes to Charlene Tashobia, down there in the paint, very brilliant post moves for a lady over age, and also her heart when she's out there playing, the command that she has. So I'm waiting to see what it is that those two ladies are actually going to offer for the junior Gazelles.
When it comes to Tashobia, you have to realize that her father was a basketballer. He was also the president. So she's
also down there.
He's also down there watching her. So she has really grown up, being nurtured by a very good basketballer, by a very good basketball mind. And I think she has also been in schools and with people who have really, you know, helped her grow in the game of basketball. Coming down to Priscilla, you say she has this David Goliath kind of mindset. I think it's a family thing, because her sister Patience, who's actually smaller than her, the main point guard for Navisunsa, has the same kind of heart. Very small one, running here and there, but you know, whenever she gets into games, it's again that kind of Goliath versus David thing. So yeah, like you said, it's going to be really exciting to watch what these two players are going to do.
Yeah, because I remember watching her when they were losing to KCCA, also when they were losing to JKL. But still, for her, she wasn't bad. She had this belief that I can actually take this person on. And you're looking at someone who's about 5 feet, who's actually playing defense on a player who's about 6 feet, and they're yelling at the other side that, I got this, give me the ball. Like, this is the right attitude that
it's the right
you need for a play on the floor.
And that's the same attitude that they're going to take there. And I believe, like I said, we're going to have some good surprises that are going to come up. And it's going to be really exciting, not only to watch them during this tournament, but to see what kind of players they develop into, you know, moving forward as they progress in their basketball career. Yeah,
to the viewers out there, to the fans, both here in Uganda and in the diaspora, the link is up on the FUBA page on Facebook, the link where you can actually catch the game at 4:30 p.m. East Africa and Uganda time. So, Emma, what chances do you think we have against Mali?
We shall win.
We shall win.
We shall win. I'm not going to go into any negativity. I'm not going to say this and that, but we're going to win this game.
We're going to win the game.
Yes.
Word on the grapevine, Emma, as we wait for 4:30 and see what will happen. Word on the grapevine, the league is meant to resume at the end of the month, and different teams have already started training. I don't know what news is in the Falcon camp. You being one of the Falcons' power forwards, please intrigue me and the viewers.
Well, truthfully, until you told me that the league had to to get back.
Yes, what on the grapevine? you even didn't know.
I think one of those branches on the grapevine didn't reach us.
Well, you have a team manager. I believe he has received an email.
Yeah, the manager really hasn't communicated to the team about starting practice. And I think other teams also haven't really gotten that information.
Other teams actually have gotten that information and they have started training. I have it on record.
The teams have started practice. Well,
yes, some teams, not all, some have already started training.
You know, and I believe that these are the bigger teams that get their information a bit faster than the other small teams.
City Oil, for instance, has started training. Namungo Blazers is training.
Yeah, so those are top tier teams, you know. I think our email as the smaller teams comes
after. Champion, Falcons, is not considered a big team.
Not for now.
Really?
We're like the Golden State Warriors of, you know, past 2 years. But yeah, I think we'll start practice soon, also for the Angels basketball, the girls. And 1 month to start the league, you know, with people resting for all this time, you know, dealing with unfitness.
But it's just like 2 games to the end of the regular season, then we go into the postseason.
Yeah, but remember, 2 games, then I have to get into the postseason. You know, I have to get into the quarterfinals, the semifinals, then the finals, and, you know, bringing back players from that kind of mindset of we've just been chilling, guys haven't been working out. You have some players gaining weight, others, you know, not in the country actually. So first of all, getting them in one place is going to be a hassle. Then getting back into practice. You know, the first week of practice is always slow. You know, and by the time you get into intense practice, league has started. Okay, but then again, we find ourselves in a situation whereby we have no choice. For us to run the league, we have to work with the time that, you know, the federation has given us and NCS has given us, and hopefully the league will resume and it will go well. I don't know where the idea of doing it like football ended, you know, just
I remember you discussing that sometime, having the rules change so that they just offer.
Yeah, sadly,
I doubt any manager would actually accept that, apart from the manager of the team that is on top of the table, which is City Oil.
Yeah, but you know, at a certain point, we all kind of know what is going to happen.
No, we don't know what is going to happen. Surprises happen. Anything can happen in sport.
Yeah, surprises happen, but remember, teams are now suffering. JKL with its issues,
with its internal entanglements.
Entanglements happening here and there. Power, you know, try to change pitch, but you know things are still going bad for them.
Power being powerless.
Yeah, then you know Namungo Blazers, they're really doing good. You know, people thought they would be doing way better, but they're doing good, and they might surprise us with that kind of Miami Heat, kind of thing.
I beg to differ with that. They're not doing good. They came with a lot of energy, a lot of what we had. So many expectations, me myself inclusive, but then they just stand out to be this prowling kitten. You know how a kitten just prowls and scares you, like as if it's going to scratch you, but in actual sense, it's just all back.
No, but I think they're doing good, you know, for their first time in the NBL, and they might be like, that Miami Heat team that actually
with the players, with the roster that they have, you expect them to be doing way much more.
But anyway, hopefully going down the stretch. I hope that teams will be ready at that time, and I hope the league will resume and we can get basketball action back, but not only for the men but also for the women and also the lower divisions. So hopefully basketball will get back, and let's wait on that.
It is Slam Dunk Basketball, and to the fans out there, to the viewers, to the basketball enthusiasts, if you want to be down in Kigali on 24th August up to 5th September for the Afro Basketball Championship, FUBA has a package that it has set up. All you have to do is go down to Lugogo, register, get the terms and conditions, get yourself tested so that you are COVID free, and then they will be giving you all the details, the terms and conditions, and you can go down and support the Silverbacks. My name is Felix Opal. I've been with Emmanuel Ateng. It has been Slam Dunk Basketball. Catch you next time.
The private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the executive director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
very interesting,
as well as the director engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011, and before then I was
for so much. CEO of whatever, they give so much.
This is the reason why you are actually on the bench,
because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you, and the goal is to weaken you financially, is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas,
when
they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays, which actually is absolutely untrue. And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okiela. Where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported. You know, many people who write on this subject, like Sylvia Tamale, she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Foundation. There is money.
There is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually stream from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering. I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Mona Onyeto Deke goes on to say, I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
So with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for you know, for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the interest become more shares.
Yes.
Welcome to this week's program. Our speaker is Paula Abru from New York Summer Stage.
Like a new beginning, you remind me of something else. something that I used to feel, something like what I've been missing. Oh, like what I've been missing. Oh, something like what I've been missing. Oh, so long I didn't know that.
Hi, I'm Paula Abreu, and I'm the Associate Director of Programming at City Parks Foundation Summer Stage in New York. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. City Parks Foundation produces the largest free outdoor performing arts festival in New York City, Summer Stage. We produce events in 15 parks across the city and Central Park. We're the only festival producing events in all 5 boroughs of the city. Our events range from music, dance, spoken word, theater, opera, family programming for all ages to all New Yorkers in the city. We are the largest festival, and we're proud to also produce events related to education, sports, and community building with City Parks Foundation. New York City is a very diverse city in terms of culture, and I mean it's hard to think of how to explain how people come together to celebrate culture. I think music is an universal language, and dance and art forms are universal languages of how people express. So I think that's a thread and connecting point that makes people join and celebrate and be together in the same space, sharing the same experience. But also I've noticed in my years in New York City, and I should say I'm from Brazil originally, a big city as well, Rio de Janeiro. But it's different. It's a very different city in terms of geography, demographic, and how the city is divided, the urban areas. So I think what is unique to New York, at least comparing to Rio and to other places where I lived or visited, is that there are many different pockets of culture, and sometimes they don't come together. They're very segregated. But when there's a big event and when there's a big music concert, you do see a very mixed crowd and mixed ages and demographics and ethnic groups together, enjoying the same music or the same experience. So it's a beautiful thing to see, even though it's a city with many geographical pockets of culture. Summer Stage started 36 years ago in New York City in 1986. This year is technically our 36th year. It started only in Central Park, and then a few years later we started doing shows all across the city in all the boroughs. And I think it started with a mission to, first of all, to elevate Central Park as a space where people felt safe and they could come and hang out in their backyard, because it's a park very central to New York. Of course, it's at the heart of the city. But then when we expanded to the other boroughs, we were thinking of the communities that don't receive arts and culture the same way that maybe people in Manhattan or people that live close to culture hubs that they experience. So we wanted to bring culture to their backyard. We wanted to bring artists that wouldn't perform near their houses otherwise, and we wanted to do that for free. So that's been a mission of Summer Stage since its inception. And we're truly the only festival that does this. We bring culture and artists to their backyard, to the backyards of New Yorkers. And if I may say, I mean, the definition of culture, it varies, and the definition of entertainment and fun and what people want to experience is very broad. But I think what we bring is it's either something that identify with a specific ethnic group. For example, New York is made of such diverse ethnic groups. To give an example, we have a specific Ghanaian community that lives in the Bronx, and for the last 2 years we've been bringing Ghanaian artists to the Bronx, and the Ghanaian community feel really encouraged to come out and celebrate their culture. The same thing happens with Haitians that live in Brooklyn, or with Mexicans or Latinos who live in Staten Island. So we bring culture that they will relate to, and they will celebrate artists that would not play here otherwise. Or we also celebrate the cultures that are specific to New York, or the genres, I may say, like hip hop, salsa, jazz. We are proud to bring some of the artists who are born in New York or who made their career here, and then they went to the world to become big artists, and they come back and play in our stages across the city. To give an example again, La India, who's a big salsa star, she played back in the South Bronx, where there's a big Puerto Rican community, and it was a very emotional concert. Or when we had, let me think, we have so many hip hop artists playing the different boroughs of New York, and they usually don't go deep in the neighborhood to play. For example, we had Public Enemy in Brownsville, in Brooklyn. So they usually don't go to these spaces to play. They are high-paying artists, and they play big venues. So with Summer Stage, they go to the communities and play to their fans in the communities many times where they came from. So this is really special.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Collaborations are key to what we do as a festival. As a free festival, and I work for City Parks Foundation, it's a nonprofit, we depend on collaborations and partners who want to see the same outcome, the same shows that we want, who wants to bring the same artists that we want to the city. And we partner with a lot of what we call culture institutions or companies who want to bring or want to expand the culture here in New York or the US. So for example, we partnered, every year we partner with the French export office. As you know, they're big supporters of music. But in Africa, we've partnered before. I can't remember by heart, but I think the South African Consulate has supported us in shows in the past. I've visited many different spaces in Africa that I've loved, and I would love to partner in the future. Sometimes it is hard to create a collaboration partnership that makes sense for all the sides, but for Summer Stage, it is important to always keep the doors open and try to forge these partnerships. Oh, I should mention, I mentioned the Ghanaian shows that we've been doing in the South Bronx. There is a festival, it's a local festival called Ghana Fest, and we've been partnering with them with concerts in the Bronx in the last 2 years. So these collaborations are very important, not only for financial resources, but also to reach to the communities. That Summer Stage is a big festival with a broad outreach. Sometimes it's hard to speak specifically to the communities that they would want to target for a specific show or specific concert. So the partners working with the local communities or with the local cultures will have more of a deep connection that we can benefit from when we partner with them. Free is at the core of Summer Stage and has always been. It's something that we will not change. It's been the very core of our mission. I think, to me, free reflects, it's a democratic space. It's a space that is accessible to all. That is, like, there's no judgment, it's equality. And so to me, it's very important that we remain free, because that's the message that we want to go out, that we are for everyone. We're not creating barriers, we're not prioritizing one group versus the other. So it's important to be accessible. It's also important to say that in the last couple of years in the US, that with all the social justice movements that have been going on, and civil rights movement, that doesn't relate directly to the fact that we are free, but I think we are a space also we don't specifically promote political or specific messages, but we want to give a platform to artists who promote the message of equality and social justice and democratic rights. So by being free, we're also giving a chance for people to receive the message from these artists with no barriers directly. I should say, although I'm from Rio, I lived in Africa it wasn't for too long, it was about 6 months. I lived in Angola, in Luanda, and I fell in love with the culture there. This is almost 20 years ago, and it was incredible. I had a deep experience of cultural, revealing in front of me, because it's so similar to the culture in Brazil, at the same time so different. And I realized back then how rich and how of a foundation everything coming out of Africa is. Music, from music to literature to fashion to everything, and to our food and culinary. So when I developed a special passion for anything that comes out of Africa, especially music. That is my passion. But in general, I think when I go to Africa, I've been to a couple conferences there already, music conferences. I usually look for things that will surprise me in a sense that it's music that is being made right now, but that don't forget the ancestors and the culture that came for many years and sets the foundations for so many things that we have in all over the world, not only Africa, right? So I look for things that will surprise me, but not forget the source and the roots where they come from. Was at the center of the pandemic for a while, right, last year, and it was pretty scary. We, at the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know, of course, none of us knew what was going to happen. And in terms of, I know many of my colleagues and artists especially, they suffered a lot because they lost gigs, they lost jobs. And we at Summer Stage and my colleagues in the festival world, we're lucky to be able to resist and keep standing and produce some virtual events. And we did a lot of them. We did about 100 virtual events, from last year until this year. And we had to learn a lot of skills that we didn't have. But I have to say, I think for us as a team and for me personally, I think it was the silver lining was able to learn different skills and to work in a different medium and to appreciate a workspace that I didn't think I would before. And moving forward, I think what changed, we're gonna all have to work in both worlds now, the virtual and in person. It's gonna be different. It's not gonna be back to what it was for sure. I think by essence, what we do is to gather people, right? So I think the first thought of safety and health guidelines, of course, we were a safe environment before, but now we're thinking of different guidelines and different issues that we weren't thinking before. But also like the experience that we've all been through, it reflects on the artists and the art the artists are making and how we're putting this on stage and how we're the experience that we're providing. And to me, my passion is to see the connection between artists and audience. And I think after 1 year of all of us being through this, it's never going to be the same. And in terms of as a producer, we also, like I said before, it's more valuable for us to make sure that we have digital components as well, in addition to the in-person experience. How that's going to translate, if it's live stream, if it's captured to do a rebroadcast later, or if it's a virtual combined with in-person, that's still questions. There's still questions about it, but it's not going to be like it was before. Before, I think we all know this. It's going to be hard, but we all grew and learned from this experience. I think in a world where we cannot be together, we'll have to think of ways to celebrate and to feel like a sense of confraternization that is as fulfilling as it was before, or if it's fulfilling it's a fulfilling experience. It's not something that right now in New York City, I must say that we are in a moment that it's probably different than many places in the world, and I know it's different from Uganda right now, and I hope all places evolve to being like we are at this moment. We dropped all the restrictions, we dropped the lockdown, we're basically back to the way we were before in terms of self-distancing and all the health guidelines. So right now we're just producing events with people in parks that they can gather the way they used to gather before. It is hard to imagine a world that will go back to distancing. I can say that the first month, we're producing shows right now, and the first month of shows that we didn't have that many, but we had a couple where we had to implement social distancing. It was very challenging. It's challenging to keep people distanced, to keep the room organized, and it's not what we are about. We're about confraternizing and celebrating, and I don't know. I hope that we don't need to do that in the future, to be honest. I think the artistic community is one of the communities that suffered the most with this pandemic, not only for the lack of jobs and opportunities and the cancellation of many concerts they had, but also they are very sensitive professionals and human beings connected to the environment and what's going on socially around us. I've seen different artists react in different ways. I personally admire artists who are not social justice, but they're active changers, that they implement or they promote change themselves, and they speak to the reality, speak to what's going on around them. So I've seen many artists create new music or create new artwork that is a reflection to what's going on. And I think what we all need, and especially artists, is to feel again that they're part of the fabric of society, to feel again that they are loved, and we are one community, that we can hug and gather in one space and celebrate life. And I've seen a lot of artists either doing work talking about that or expressing that they miss that and they are looking forward to do it. And I'm very curious to see what's going to come out in the next year also in terms of music and artwork. I'm very excited to see. I think we're going to see some of the most brilliant works coming out next after this horrible experience that we've been through. First of all, I would love to visit Doa Doa and Uganda. Who knows, maybe next year I'll be there. I would love to visit you guys and to learn in person, firsthand, of what's going on there and what kind of music is being made. I would love to learn all that. But the message that I would like to leave for everyone is please be hopeful. We're going to go through this, and New York City is a place that welcomes all cultures, and I've been dying to work with people from Uganda and Eastern Africa, so hopefully we'll be able to collaborate and work together soon. Be thankful for what you have, be thankful to be alive, celebrate life and culture and the importance of art around you. Oh yes, I've known Faisal for a long time. I think the work he does, his persistence is brilliant, and I'm a true fan of what he does. And thank you for thinking of me and for thinking of Summer Stage to be featured in this program. And I hope to keep growing our relationship and collaboration. And I hope to be in Uganda soon and to see you guys in New York City.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of Doa Doa 2021, and it is our virtual docu-series. As you've heard from our speaker of this week, I would like to introduce you to the artist that you'll get to know, and that is Deborah Asimwe. Deborah Asimwe is one of Uganda's celebrated playwrights and also a stage director and producer. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Deborah Asimwe.
Run, Silver! Maria has a knife, she wants to stab you. Maria, I can't allow you. Let bygones be bygones. Silver's a friend. He will always be. Run, Silver! Run for your life!
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. My full name is Asimwe Deborah Kawe, and I am a playwright. I also produce theater, and I once in a while perform, and I once in a while direct for stage. So in a nutshell, that's who I am. So I was born and raised in rural Uganda, and at some point in my life, I lived with my grandmother, I think from the age of 9, who was a storyteller. And the tradition in our home was that she would tell us stories as her grandchildren, and in the subsequent nights would retell them. And in most cases, she would actually ask us to perform them. And I really attribute my entry into theater and performance from her. So in school, when I went to school, I was very lucky that I grew up at a time when storytelling was so integral in lower primary section. So I remember we used to have sessions to tell stories, which in the language that my mother speaks, which is the language that I grew up speaking, Runyankore, we call it okugana, to tell stories. And so each child would be asked to stand in front of the class and tell a story. And so from there, I really found myself very, very interested in the art of storytelling, which really where theater falls. Theater is all about telling stories. And as I continued with my education and was introduced to literature, I came across plays and playwrights that I really found myself interested in. African playwrights from elsewhere. And then when I finished my A-level, I found myself, and I'm using the words found myself, studying music, dance, and drama at Makerere University. So what has my journey been like? I think I kind of hinted on the fact that in Uganda, in most schools in Uganda, and in Uganda as a society, choosing to be an artist for one's rest of life is something that some people shun upon and question because I think it is Ugandan specific, but also kind of global. The arts are not something that one can think about when they are talking or thinking about monetary success. Some people can become very successful for being artists, but others may not necessarily be successful. And in our context in Uganda, when a parent takes their child to school, the expectation is that this child is going to be successful, and in most cases, economically successful. So I remember one of the questions that my mom asked me when we were thinking about whether I should study music, dance, and drama or not was, she said, so who are you going to depend on for the rest of your life? And I really hear her. I understand her, why she was very worried about me. And so in terms of my artistic journey, I have always known that writing or theater is a passion first and foremost, other than being something that I gain from economically. And I have been fortunate in the sense that I have written plays, they've been staged, and I have earned by doing that. Of course, I supplement that to either teach at universities or write commissioned work. But I have to say that when I write for passion, that has been my greatest joy. When I see something that I really feel I need to say something about, and I put it into a story that can be performed on stage, that has been my greatest passion. And I have written many plays. I think I've been very, very fortunate to have had my work produced in in different places, on different continents. So I really, in terms of being a playwright, I feel I've been very lucky and blessed that my work has been read and seen and studied at different universities across the globe. I've had work here, produced here at the Uganda National Culture Center, which also houses the National Theatre. I have had my work produced in other Eastern African countries. And so I feel like in terms of my artistic journey, I'm very lucky that my work I've not written to just shelve. I have written and people have seen what I have written and read what I have written.
What do you want to catch? My nose! You have a nose? Where's your nose? Right here. Where? Right here on my face. You have a face? Everybody has a face. Where? Right here. I do not see it.
What motivates me is, so there's this thing that I think artists may have in common, that when a story wants to come out, it will tug at you, it will nag you as an artist until you actually let it out. So that has been one of my motivations. When a story wants to be told and wants me to tell it in a particular way, it will not give me peace until I have told it. That's one. The second one is I feel that there are not so many people who get to have a platform to create, to tell stories, or to be gifted that way. And I think I ask myself, if I have been gifted in this area, why shouldn't I use this gift that God has given me? So that is the second motivation. And then the third motivation is when I see something that I feel must be known by other people, it feels like a responsibility. If I have identified something and I really feel that this is something that other people need to know and to begin to question, then it motivates me to put it out in the public and invite whoever is interested into a conversation. Because the kind of work that I do and the kind of plays that I write have themes that I feel need to be talked about. And so for me, writing is a way of inviting other people into the kind of conversation that's in my head. I put it out there so that it can be public, and I invite people to enter into a conversation with me and with the story that I'm telling. I believe in God. I don't know what more you want me to say. I believe that there is a supernatural being, for sure. I know that the force that you're explaining, the way you have explained it, for me, I give that God, the name God. I know that other people may give it other names, and that's why I was saying that I totally believe that there is a supernatural being. And I could say it in so many different ways, in different languages that I speak, but because we are now communicating in English, I'm going to say that I do believe in God. And for that force that you're explaining, that you're talking about, for me, I refer to it as God. Who is that person that I would love to collaborate with and have never collaborated with? Honestly, I don't think I have an answer for you. And I'm the type who really loves collaborations. And some of my work have emerged from collaborations. But I don't know, I think I need to think about that. But I don't think there's one particular person I would love to collaborate with. Honestly, I think I need to think about that. So my work is very different and very diverse. And usually my work dictates space where it can be performed. I've written work that, for example, would not do well in a conventional space, like, for example, the main auditorium of the National Theatre here. So that's a very interesting question, because I don't think that my work can be confined into a specific space. But I can also say that I've always hoped that at some point one of my plays will end up on the Broadway in New York. I've had my work off Broadway, but I hope that I can create a script that can end up on Broadway. Interestingly, the lockdown came at a time when I had just had a baby. So I was in my own open lockdown. So that actually was great in the sense that it really allowed me to spend time with my baby. However, I beg to disagree with you that the creative minds have been in lockdown. I think people have been creating, just that the physical spaces have been locked does not mean that the creatives haven't been creating. And thankfully, the digital spaces allowed for some creatives, those who can access them and can afford them, have allowed for them to continue sharing their work and their creation. And so when my baby was a little bit older, around 4 months, 5 months, I started writing again, and I think I was again really blessed because I was commissioned to write something specifically for a digital platform. And I'm actually working on a new script that is specifically meant for online. It's an online script. It's not meant for stage. And the other thing is some of my work was adapted for podcasts. So I was still able to be creative, but of course not as open and as available as when there was no lockdown. But I think also because I was busy raising a baby, that in itself made me stay back a lot in terms of being creative. So you can reach out to me on my website, which is asimwekawe.org, and Asimwe is ASIIMWE, Kawe KAWE, so asimwekawe.org. Or you can reach out to me via my Facebook page, which is Asimwe Deborah Gashuji. Just put Asimwe Deborah and the last name will come, because that one is quite complicated. Or you can find me on Twitter at Adikdax, so ADKDAKS, which are I'm kind of forgetting but I think those are enough. Those are enough for now.
Thank you so much for joining this week's show, Doa Doa 2021. I hope you had some fun and got some inspiration. If you have any comment, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your comment, or our Facebook page, Twitter or Instagram. We'll definitely get back to you. We are very grateful, and until next week, I remain your host, Faizo Kiwewa from Bayimba and the Doa Doa team. Keep it Doa Doa 2021.
There's a lot that is involved in the civil society organizations. There's leadership in itself, there's management of processes, there's management of the human resource, there's fundraising, there's research. It's a lot that needs to be done. And many times there is a feeling that is too much for a woman, because she has other traditional roles that she needs to do as at home. So many times as people are looking for leaders in civil society organizations, the priority is usually given to men, because of our society that feels that men have the time, men have the capacity, men have the ability to lead, to take this organization to greater heights. And women, there will be a problem. They will have to go to maternity leave. They have issues. They are too emotional. They have not done the courses that are good enough for leaders. They don't have time to go for extra learning or to go for work outside Kampala because they have to tend to their children. So there's too much that society has tied around a woman. And it's true. We have these traditional roles that we have to do, but does not in any way mean that women cannot lead in these spaces.
Private sector is not yet fully utilized because not everybody can be employed by government. And we are looking at a future whereby more people are employed in the private sector than in government. So I think if we all work hard, if we all work together and invest in the right areas, there's been a lot of talk about value addition in the agriculture sector, in the mineral sector. If there is enough investment in those areas, I think it can create enough jobs for our children and grandchildren.
Okay. I just want to take you to question number 4, Andrew, which is, let's talk about your journey at City Hall and the foray into the Executive Director's office, which is as Andrew Chitaka,
Very interesting.
as well as the Director Engineering.
Very interesting. I joined KCCA on 1st November 2011. And before then I was
for so much. CEO of whatever. They give so much.
This is the reason why you are actually on the bench.
Because of my credibility. Thank you so much. But now they attack you, they vilify you. And the goal is to weaken you financially. Is to weaken your honor. These are slanderers. So I'm glad that someone would stay up at night to ask and learn about me. And I pray that in the next 2 months, because I know many Ugandans who travel overseas, when they go there, one of the things, because the media has been so much, and Sam Kutesa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, has really not done a good job. He has dropped the ball on this issue. Why? So many of us are being accused of being gay killers, including me. You've just heard that person. Uganda is being accused that we kill gays, which actually is absolutely untrue. And because of this, it has affected our tourism. It affects people who go overseas to do work or study. It affects whenever you go to a conference. Hi, my name is Eddie Okello. Where are you from? I'm from Uganda. Oh, you are the gay killers. And then you begin to describe. So one of the things that I've done is I've written a book, which should be coming out. I know that I keep saying the same thing, but the work of doing a book takes a long time, and I wish I could be supported.
Yeah.
You know, many people who write on this subject,
yes,
like Sylvia Tamale,
yes,
she's supported by the Rockefeller Foundation,
yes,
Carnegie Foundation.
Yes.
There is money.
Is a very big brand, and as we go on, we will probably discuss the things we're trying to do to see that things change for the better.
Good. Sean, on the CEO bench, for everyone who is following, we're live on our YouTube studio where we actually stream from. So YouTube studio, for everybody asking for a link, is actually House of Talent Uganda.
Confident in themselves and what they are offering.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest problem. Like, women will easily settle for a less pay than men would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mona Onyetodeke goes on to say, or I think this is a comment, says, I didn't know that beauty products are taxed at 60%. Whoa.
They are. I pray that changes soon, but they are.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with that challenge of 60%,
setting up the company, you're doing tours all across the world. You know, a personal account is great, but how these things are taxed becomes important for you know, for your business later on. As soon as you cross that threshold of 50 million a year, you know, you're now in
the interest become more
shares.
Yes.
Visions of rapture now passing on sight. Angels descending, bring from above echoes of mercy. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Sing together. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, let's go. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in our lives. I worship you, oh, I worship you. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here together, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. Waymaker, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, 'cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop working. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. 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 Woo! Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That is who He is. Hallelujah. He is the way maker. Praise the Lord. We thank you, Jesus. We'd like to welcome you today to the Sunday Rise session. Yes. We are Wise One. We're coming from a ministry called the Wise One. It's a women's ministry. Our vision is to bring women to that place to understand and to know who they are in Christ Jesus, to enjoy the presence of the Lord, to enjoy who they are, and to do great things for the Lord in this generation. And so our vision is a generation of women manifesting Christ. And so today we are so blessed to be in this place. Hallelujah. Today I'm here with Della. Della is my name is Precious Kopsinje. I am very, very blessed to be here and to worship with every one of you that has tuned in today. We thank you for taking off your time and to come in and worship the Lord with us. Hallelujah. Della Kalanzi, just please say something about yourself.
My name is Della. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm a worshiper. I have been a worshiper for the longest time, and I am so honored to be hosted today with Wise One Worship. Thank you.
And I'm Marjorie Seruo. I am so blessed to be here. I'm honored to be here, actually. Also a worshiper, just like the rest of them. And I'm born again. I love the Lord. I'm so happy to be here.
And on my right, on my right is a gentleman. Yes. And his name is